Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am joined by guest Cincere Koonce today to talk about the impact of Chris Paul getting injured for the Suns. This is a major blow to the Suns as he was considered to be one of their quote-unquote big four for their team. With the Suns being down 2-0 in this series, their chances of making a comeback look slimmer than ever. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. Do the Suns have any chance of making a comeback in this series?
What I think is going to happen is, since they had 2 games in Denver already and they're heading their way back to Phoenix, I think they'll be able to win both of those 2 games. But when they go back to Denver in Game 5, I think Denver will win 2 of the next 2 games right after that.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I don't think the Suns have any chance of winning this series. And that was before Chris Paul's left groin injury flared up. Now with that groin injury, I don't think the Phoenix Suns stand much of a chance. Because you look at this Phoenix Suns roster, everybody's raving about their big four. They talk about, oh man, they got Devin Booker, they've got Kevin Durant, they've got Deandre Ayton, and they've got Chris Paul. All very good players, they so say. But then you look at the rest of the Suns team, they're not very good. Josh Okogie is one of their other starters. They got Cam Payne coming off the bench. Landry Shamet coming off the bench. Bismack Biyombo is one of their backup centers. They got Damon Lee and they got Torrey Craig. All guys that are not really impressive, quite frankly. The Phoenix Suns are very top heavy. And I've been saying all season long, especially after they trade for Kevin Durant, they are one injury away from having their season being thrown down the tube. And that's exactly what happened. I'm hearing that Chris Paul is doubtful for games 3 and 4, which is very bad news for the Phoenix Suns because they probably need him in games 3 and game 4 in order to win their games since it's at Phoenix. The Phoenix Suns cannot afford to split the series at home. They got to win both of their games at home, and with Chris Paul out, it's only going to get harder. If Cam Payne has to play major minutes for the Phoenix Suns, they are going to be absolutely screwed because Cam Payne, although he can play a little bit, his shot is questionable. He's not a great shooter out there, and he's not necessarily going to give great spacing for Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Now you're looking at the Suns team. Now KD's got to step up. Now Devin Booker's got to step up. And Deandre Ayton, he can't pull a move that he did last year, which is he essentially quit on the Phoenix Suns in Game 7 of last year's second-round matchup against the Dallas Mavericks. The Phoenix Suns cannot afford to have Deandre Ayton quit on their team the way they did last year again.
Yeah, and they gave up so much to get KD. It's like now they're not the same team that they were last year. Now it's like the defense is a liability compared to last year. So now they don't have any depth in their bench. So if you don't have any defense, you're not going to win a championship like that.
You know, it's the old saying in all of sports, defense wins championships. In the Phoenix Suns, they used to have a good defense, but they traded all that away so they could get Kevin Durant. They had to trade away Jay Crowder. They had to trade away Cam Johnson. They had to trade away Mikal Bridges, all for Kevin Durant. Now, is Kevin Durant a great basketball player? Absolutely. I don't think anybody could really argue that Kevin Durant isn't a top 5 player in the world. That's how good Kevin Durant is. However, what Kevin Durant has in his tangibles, he doesn't have in his intangibles. Kevin Durant is not a leader. We've seen that on multiple teams. We've seen it with the OKC Thunder. We've seen it with the Brooklyn Nets. Now we're starting to see that with the Phoenix Suns. Kevin Durant is not a leader. He is a follower. Yeah, he might have the skill set of a tremendous leader because he has the ability to make jump shots on a consistent basis, and he can shoot the 3-ball really well, and he's really efficient, and you think with his size he'd be really good at defense. But actually that's not the case with Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant, he doesn't have that extra motor where he's just going to keep going. Kevin Durant, he doesn't have what it takes to make the mental fortitude to win championships without forming super teams around him. That's just the reality of Kevin Durant's career. I mean, Kevin Durant, he can have problems with what I said and everything like that, but when you look at his career, that's just facts what I just gave you right there. Kevin Durant doesn't have that motor to take it to the next level without a super team around him. And also give credit to the Denver Nuggets where credit is due. I'm getting sick or tired of these people disrespecting the Denver Nuggets. I've been high on the Denver Nuggets all year long, and I'm going to continue to be high on them. You look at this Denver Nuggets team, they've got Nikola Jokic, who in my opinion should have won the MVP over Joel Embiid, but that's another discussion for another day. They've got Jamal Murray, he's really good. They've got Michael Porter Jr., he can play. They've got Aaron Gordon, really good defender, and they got KCP, former champion, that he used to play for the Los Angeles Lakers, so he knows what it takes. He can play defense, he can shoot the 3-ball well, and they got Bruce Brown coming off the bench. He's solid for them as well, and they've got Jeff Green, a longtime NBA vet, and they've got Reggie Jackson on their team as well. So people need to stop acting like the Nuggets are Nikola Jokic and it's just a bunch of no-namers because they got a lot of good players on their team. Yeah, they might not have the star power that the Phoenix Suns have, but this Denver Nuggets team, they're as good as any in the National Basketball Basketball Association, and they can absolutely win the championship this year. So to me, I don't really think the Phoenix Suns stand much of a chance compared to the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, they don't. And let me rephrase that because I know I just said that it will go 6 games, but I believe it'll go 7 for sure. Because really, as long as KD and Booker on the floor, I think they can win the next of the 2 home games. But then when they go back to Denver in 5, I think Denver will win that one. And then when they go back to Phoenix, I think they're going to defend home court. And then 7, when they go back to Denver, that's when the big downfall is going to happen.
That's what I was thinking before the series started. I was saying Nuggets in 7, but with Chris Paul's injury, I'm not so confident the Suns can win both of their games at home. I think that the Phoenix Suns are going to go ahead and split the series at home, so the Nuggets are going to steal one on the road, so it's going to be 3-1 heading back to Denver, and by the time it's Game 5, I think the Phoenix Suns are going to run out of gas, and I think the Nuggets are going to win this in 5 games if Chris Paul's left groin injury cannot recover fast enough. If it's as bad as what people are saying it is, then I don't see the Denver Nuggets blowing a 3-1 lead to the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns, they just don't have enough depth to keep up with the Denver Nuggets. They don't have the defensive pieces either. They have to rely on Devin Booker going off for 35 points. They have to rely on Kevin Durant scoring 30 points for them as well. They got to rely on DeAndre Ayton not quitting on their team. I don't really think that the Phoenix Suns really stand much of a chance compared to the Denver Nuggets. This Nuggets team is too deep, their chemistry is too good, and they are well coached. Give credit to Mike Malone where credit is due. Mike Malone has got this Denver Nuggets team playing really hard on both sides of the floor. Yeah, it's not been pretty sometimes on the offensive side of the floor, but he's done a good job empowering Nikola Jokic on the offensive end of the floor, so you got to give him tremendous props in there, and he's been out coaching Monty Williams so far in the series.
Even with Chris Paul being injured, it doesn't change anything because really the games that Chris Paul has played, he hasn't been all that good in scoring. The first game he had 8 points, and then the second game he has 11. So really, he hasn't contributed to much. I feel like he's been carried more by Devin Booker and KD, and it's not a bad thing because at least he has some help with the offensive side of the ball. But it's not like he contributed to anything this series nor the other series.
But here's the thing though, even though Chris Paul hasn't played great in the first 2 games, what he is though is that he's going to be a lot better than whatever Cam Payne is going to be given now for the Phoenix Suns, because now they're going to have to rely on Cam Payne as their starting point guard. That's not necessarily going to be a good thing for the Phoenix Suns. They better hope that Cam Payne has a career game in games 3 and or game 4, because if that doesn't happen, then the Phoenix Suns, they're going to go home and their quote-unquote super team that they filled up is going to fail epically this year. So that's just kind of how I'm looking at it. I'm going to ultimately declare that the Nuggets are going to win this in 5 games if Chris Paul is going to be out in both Game 3 and Game 4. I just don't see how the Phoenix Suns are going to tie the series up at 2 apiece. Although I will say if the Nuggets do allow the Suns to win both of their home games, I do think the series will go 7 games. But if not, then I think the Nuggets are going to take care of business at home, because I just don't see the Nuggets losing any home games whatsoever in the series. There's a reason why they've been excellent at home all year long, and that's going to continue. So that's just kind of how I'm looking at it. I know you're going to end up saying that the Nuggets will win this in 7, even with the injury of Chris Paul. So that's just kind of how we're going to look at it. All right, well, thanks for being on the show, Cincere. Appreciate you coming on here. All right, make sure you follow his Instagram at cincere.koonce. All right, thanks for being on the show, man.
Anytime.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. All right, see you, bro.
All right.
Yup, bye. That was Cincere Koonce that you guys just heard. Alright, so he's going to declare that the Chris Paul injury will cause the Nuggets to win the series in 7 games. Meanwhile, I'm going to take it a step further and say that this injury to Chris Paul will cause the Nuggets to win this series in 5 games. I don't see how the Suns can weather the storm with Chris Paul's latest injury. I mean, Chris Paul at this point, his career is a curse at this point come playoff time, because he always gets hurt when it matters most, or something always happens. There's always a choke job happening. I mean, it's just really hard to explain at this point. Either way, though, I got the Nuggets winning the series in 5 games, so that is why the Suns got no chance of making a comeback in this series against the Nuggets. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @Dustin Tran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Dustin Tran and at Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter at Dustin Tran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.